and we're racing him. Marquez that leads on those slicks.
That's Bagnaia on the floor, knocked down by one of the KTMs into the Dunlop chicane. Bagnaia was
the world champion walking away.
There's no question that the riders that came up pit lane on the sighting lap for slicks made the right
scoring a single point. Here comes Alex on the inside of Mark. 73 versus 93, which has been the story. There's the Quartararo then. He's already in for the first of his 2 long laps. He'll sweep back out on the circuit just in time. Yeah, Lorenzo Savadori in 12th place, the only rider that did start this Grand Prix on slick. Alex Marquez, Fermin Aldeguer and Vinales, I think it is, who've come through the long lap pole to do. So Marquez...
Play it smart. Oh, Quartararo.
And Binder.
Quartararo and Binder have gone down the final corner.
Yeah, it literally did nothing wrong except that tiny little bit of lean angle when...
Oh, and Alex is getting in hot there.
Yeah, he's missed the penalty.
Yeah. I think Alex has already maybe served his 2. This now leaves Fermin Aldeguer clear at the front of this Grand Prix. Mark and Alex clearly feel now just a battle of survival, isn't it, Bradley?
Yeah, like I said, it's so difficult when you're in that championship hunt. You have to do the smart.
He's behind your race leader, Fermin Aldeguer.
So where did the Marquez brothers come out in relation to poor Fabio Quartararo? There's Jack Miller, who might well have been in the box seats had he not gone down on his wets. Just goes to show.
Just been an almighty roar in the grandstand. I think if it's just flashed up on the screens on the road, and he was going to be on the podium on his comeback race, he would have laughed you out the paddock. But he is making hay one.
Championship leader.
Zarco a 45.5. Oliveira was in the low 1/4.
The more slippery and less temperature he's able to get in that rear tyre.
As always, for the second time, you can vote at home for your...
He was struggling. That leader's grown now for Johan Zarco as they come through the third sector. Here is
crowd. Quartararo. Whoa! Fabio Quartararo. Restart procedure will be in play. Oh, locked the front, didn't he? We're into the quick start procedure, which will be applied. Zarco's in. I think that's Zarco. I think Zarco's coming in.
It's perhaps the rider breathing the biggest sigh of relief right now because he was so nearly on the deck.
Right, but yeah, you can't bet against him in these circumstances.
Yeah, he'll be in a rousing rendition of Marseillage, which will have extra significance and meaning with Fabio Quartararo starting from...
Afterwards, everyone explained what penalty he should have got, but yeah, he also turned round and did say that he did...
Certainly when he looks at the race pace. That was in the dry though, of course, on the Michelin slick rubber. As you
where it's at, well, definitely not enough water at the minute, but it's also pretty dodgy on the slicks, so good luck, cheers.
He pits, or... Yeah, I think that's what seems to always be...
Any reason they would start a long lap from pit lane, take their original grid position and survey, double on that penalty. That regulation...
There is Jack Miller. Jack just having another chat there with his... Welcome to the Bugatti circuit. Welcome to Le Mans. Stiff and fierce competition alongside him and behind him. Classic Grand Prix venues in the last 2 years, 2023. Untouchable on Saturday afternoons so far in 2025. But lights out. 46 Ducati rider Quartararo tops it out with the Marquez brothers into the first section. Quartararo lead. Running wide. Look at Quartararo through the first sector alone. He gapped Marc Marquez of a second ahead of Marc there in second place. Secchi's had a pretty good first lap, having started in... Pecco Bagnaia has crashed out of the sprint here in Le Mans. More crucial world... This was him in 4th place. He'd been aggressive at the start, 6 to 4th early on. And then the front end washing his head in his hands. He knows when he's up against fierce opposition. The Supercar being slashed down to half a second. So Mark working his way back towards Quartararo, his tyres. This is on fresh rubber right at the start of this sprint. So that bodes well, doesn't it, for a big challenge from Mark in a dry.
Theatre of Garage Vert, and Quartararo leads Marc Marquez. The lead is holding steady on this lap.
To the Italian, was an early run-off in the first part of the Jerez Grand Prix, and actually had a real strong fight back through.
He has just
dropped down under the Dunlop Bridge. Big undulation here, down the hill, through La Chapelle. This long radius right.
Both S's, so after a really strong start, which brought him into the points, Brad Binder is now down. That promotes Zarco up to 7th, but now being under siege from Mark and Alex.
Not sure what's happened to Jack Miller in this sprint, having started in a pretty strong champion who comes to the back of the factory, the Ducati garage. He said yesterday he can't.
Into the Dunlop chicane, Quartararo sees it coming and tries to take it back on the exit, and that's exactly what he's going to do.
Side by side,
Quartararo knows that he's got a fairly comfortable gap back to Aldeguer behind as Alex Marquez now he runs into the back.
Running firm in that battle for 5th and 6th.
Bashanini on one of the other KTMs was in the battle for the points. He's
Front is just streaking clear here now on the inside as they power the Ducati up into 6th gear. Alex 1:30.065. Which is already the 4th fastest time of the weekend. In 3rd for Prima Pramac Yamaha, 1:30.283. I think of all of the 100.
He might not be on provisional pole when he arrives at that final corner, because look at this from the 2 Cressini Ducatis once again. Aldeguer
out of the final corner now, over the line he goes. It's a 1:29.44.
Who's the only rider anywhere near the 93.
We're going to go for 3 laps in the first one and then 2 in the second one, so good to see how he gets through sector 3 here.
I've got to say, we're waxing lyrical, quite rightly so, about the performance of Quartararo, who has just slightly improved down to 1.
That seems to be matching well. Jack always goes well here, and let's be honest, from the moment that he jumped on this bike, he's able to squeeze.
He was some 6/10 quicker than that yesterday afternoon. He's some 1 1/4 seconds at the moment by
to that first chicane in turn 1 and in turn 2, so this sector 1 should be a little bit off where it needs to be.
It's 4/10 off through
the soft rear tyre. I mean, you hear riders talk about how a new soft can overpower and overload
of what front tyre that you need to use. Normally, if you have it a little bit further away, you
come to the 3rd row of the grid. 2nd fastest goes firm in Aldeguer. This is brilliant. 2nd fastest.
Fair play, to do that lap time and then go again. It shows that the
game, as you alluded to, it just shows how much or how close crew chief Frankie Cargetti looking on rather pensively just to see if his rider here later in Q2, and he does. A 1:29.571 from your world championship leader. He gets a big round of Yamaha out of the final corner, and he's done it. An absolute showstopper for the 2nd time in.
I really understand the level of which these guys are riding at. 29 is just something I thought I would never see. So.